Hello again. The final offering of the morning is a study from the students a group of students at Sussex University who are autistic and autistic. I'm so sorry, autistic, and it is. A very interesting study of a very widely misunderstood area of mental health. And I think that this documentary speaks for itself. So here it is coming up, and the students are very articulate.
Hi, I'm Dawn from New Jersey.
Hi, 我是臧启亮，我来自中国。
My name is Jack. I'm travelling Australia at the moment. I'm currently in Cairns.
Hi, my name's Julie, and I'm from Mayfield, East Sussex.
And autism to me is like snowflakes. There's not one true look or one true style. Every single person with autism is unique, special, and magical. I would say too that no person is autistic. They have autism. Just like you have 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, and 2 ears. It's just part of you, but it doesn't define you.
对我来说，孤独症像是一种不完美，但这个世界本来就不是完美的呀。孤独症患者也只是普通人，像我一样过着平凡的人生，只是这种平凡的人生对他们来说却更加艰难。我为他们而感到骄傲。
To me, having Asperger's is something that has always been in the background to some degree. And I've managed to deal with it for most of my life because I've had friends and family to, demonstrate to me that I can do everything just like everybody else.
Autism to me is my son, who sees the world through a different lens and walks to the beat of his own drum. But it's also crippling anxiety and extreme demand avoidance to try and help that anxiety. It's my son working hard every single day to mask his autism, just to try and fit in with the world around him. It's wearing nothing but pants at home, because clothes are just too much for his sensory issues. It's being talked at, in depth, at great length. It's talking, but never really speaking. It's not understanding emotions, and also being unable to regulate your emotions. Autism is just autism. It's a different way of looking at the world. Autism is what makes my son the wonderful, clever, unique person he is.
My name is Max Brown and I work at the University of Sussex and I am a student advisor for students with autism.
My name's Phil Rowland. I'm a teacher and I live in Uckfield.
I'm Debbie and I obviously live in Uckfield as well. And I'm a Special Educational Needs Coordinator, which is a SENCO.
My name's Julie. I am mum to Sam. Sam's 8 now and was finally diagnosed with autism and sensory processing disorder and severe anxiety. Actually, it was May 2017. It was a long road to get that diagnosis.
Yeah, we have the 3 boys, that's what we have. I guess we don't know what a normal child is like. So we don't really know how much of what their behaviour is actually just normal sibling behaviour and how much is it because of the autism and that sort of thing. So we don't know.
True.
All 3 on the autistic spectrum, 2 with a diagnosis.
Twins.
They are twins, non-identical twins, but very different.
To be diagnosed with autism, you fall into what's called the triad of impairments. So it's a condition that affects someone's social behaviour. So the triad of impairments affects your social communication, your understanding of social interaction, and your social imagination. Unfortunately, the way that autism is classified, it's from an approach that classifies a person as having a deficit in those 3 areas of social functioning.
So Ewan was diagnosed first. I guess we noticed things with him earlier because his is more, I guess, behavioural. We noticed very early with him.
Very physical.
He was very, very physical with everything. You know, he did a lot of hitting and biting and pinching, and kind of it carried on longer than you would expect. Yeah. Lucas was, I think we began to see more and more he was isolating himself. So he wasn't playing and things like he babbled from very early age, but that babble never turned into anything. So his speech was affected.
He does what's called masking it. So he goes to school, he went to preschool, and he appears to be absolutely neurotypical, when actually he's a ball of anxiety the whole time he's there. And then he comes home, and that's when he explodes. The best analogy I've seen for it, I don't know if it's an analogy or a metaphor, but anyway, it's a Coke bottle, and you shake it a little bit in the morning, then you shake it a little bit with each thing that happens throughout the day, and by the end of the day, that Coke bottle explodes. That was Sam.
As a teacher, when I have a meeting with a parent, you know, going over the provision plan which sets out how we're going to support their child, when they hear that I have children of my own that have autism, their shoulders drop. You can hear them go, oh, you understand then.
Yeah.
You understand the fact that, you know, you're telling me that your child is really well behaved at school. As soon as they get home, they're fighting with their brother, they're losing it. And because they're holding it all together, and then that's because it's been so intense, and they've been really focusing on concentrating and trying to make friends and playing well and doing the work and mixing with people at playtime and eating their dinner with all the noise going around. They can get home and they go, actually, and all of that release, and you know, it's like, well, and then the parents going, well, why do they not play up for you when they play up for me? And I can understand and I can see that, and it's like, and I'll never forget that strategy of somebody saying with a Coke bottle, you know, a little shake, a little more of a shake, and this is what's happening at school. You know, why can't I go on the laptop?
Because it's their safe place.
Yeah, a little shake more, and then when they get home, the lid comes off.
Yeah, because it's safe. Because you're going to love me anyway, even if I behave like this. So,
right, well, when he was diagnosed, nothing changed. Absolutely nothing. Because you go, he gets tested, the doctor says, yes, he has autism, he has severe anxiety, and he has sensory processing disorder, and you leave. I'd never heard of sensory processing disorder. I had no idea he was anxious. I had no idea. There's nobody there tells you what to do next. So I picked the brains of people that I knew that had children with autism. I started researching it online, I bought books, and I taught myself about autism and sensory processing disorder.
Autism is a developmental condition which falls on a spectrum, so it is something that affects people in different ways. It's something that could be termed differently by different people depending on what your understanding is. So it's a neurobehavioural condition which impacts people in terms of their level of functionality. So within autism there's various different levels of how it impacts people. So you have what used to be termed Asperger's syndrome, which is a distinct level of functional impairment, and then you also have what's called high functioning autism, and right up to people who have non-verbal forms of autism. You could imagine it more as a sort of circle or a dartboard, and you could fall anywhere on that. To think of it more as a circle, it has much more options for recognising that, as well as that sort of quite arbitrary level of functionality, you're going to have your own individual strengths and weaknesses, and your own individual sensory experiences, and your own individual way of experiencing autism that will be entirely different to the other 100 autistic people you could compare yourself to.
Sam, we need to leave the comic alone now. We need to go. Sam, 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 come on. Come on, darling. Let's go now. Sam talks non-stop. Talks about everything. Well, no, he doesn't talk about everything. He just talks. He talks non-stop. But he talks about nothing. I don't know how he feels. I don't know what he thinks. I don't know anything of any importance. I don't know what he did at school during the day because he's unable to tell me. He communicates to me through his behaviour. So if he's having a meltdown, that's because he is anxious. Or it's too much, he's overwhelmed. These are the words that I'm teaching him to use now, are the words overwhelmed, anxious, because he doesn't understand emotions, really.
So I took them to the hairdressers. I was really anxious, and I'd said to Lucas particularly, you know the clippers that Daddy uses for his hair, would you like to give those a go? And not thinking, I guess the thing again with autism is you just don't know how they're going to react in any situation. So I was thinking, there's going to be the noise of the clippers. Will that trip him up?
Will there be other
Will it
people
be
there?
that he doesn't know the setting? Will it be that he doesn't know the person that's killing his hair?
Doesn't like the feel of it.
Will he not want to wear the
feeling of the hair.
cape thing? And so we went in, and I deliberately picked a hairdresser that I knew would be quiet, that would be contained, so they couldn't see out of the windows for distraction. There wasn't going to be over an amount of noise. There wasn't going to be an over amount of chairs or other people in that particular barber. So that's why I went there. And they sat down at the same time, and Ewan was very much sat there, didn't say a word, and the guy was trying to have a conversation with him. How was your holiday?
I'm here to do a task. Let's just get on with it.
What kind of haircut do you want?
No.
Can you lean your head that way? and then Lucas and I was kind of like, okay. Do you want to have a go with the buzzy noise thing? And he's like, yeah, okay, because Ewan is, which was great. I mean, they are fantastic support for each other. So he had a go, and I'm stood there behind going, really good, and he kept itching his nose. And it was getting frustrating for the lady that was doing his hair. And I could see that she was like, would you like another itch? Being sarcastic to him, and I'm thinking, that's not what he needs here.
I wasn't there. Good job that was you and not me.
So I'm going to him, right, let's do a challenge. Can we keep our hands, see how long we can keep our hands on our knees for? and you know, was doing things like that, and which worked. And he came out, and you know, he had all his hair cut, and it was tingly, and I was jumping up and down, and the hairdressers going, really well done, that's absolutely fantastic. It's just a haircut.
A lot of people with autism have a sensory sensitivity, so they can be really sensitive to noise or to light or something like that. So all these things that could happen that could be unpredictable or could be sensory quite overwhelming, sometimes that could be happening to the extent that it could cause quite a lot of anxiety and distress for someone, that it could cause them to tip over into what's called meltdown. So that could cause such a level of kind of distress and panic for someone that it can mean that that person can have a situation where they are just so overwhelmed, they're just kind of really just don't know what to do. So that is a kind of extreme example of where things have become too much for an autistic person.
If he, for example, doesn't want to get dressed and doesn't want to put his shoes on, so he's pitching a fit outside the front door, doesn't want to put his shoes on, that's because he's afraid or anxious to do what I'm asking him to do. So he does a thing that's called demand avoidance. That's another thing I've learned, demand avoidance. So instead of telling me like other children would, Mummy, I don't want to go here, Mummy, I don't like this, Mummy, this doesn't sound like a good thing, Mummy, this scares me, he throws shoes at my head, or he hits his head off the wall, or he screams this high-pitched scream while throwing himself around the room.
Hugh does not like showers, only buckets, and hates water in or even near his eyes. I got Hugh into the bathroom. I locked the door, and Hugh took one look at the water and started shouting.
No bath!
Hugh, you need a bath.
No bath!
Shit. Completely forgotten to give Hugh a countdown for his bath.
No bath!
Hugh went crazy. Crawling, kicking, hitting and screaming. Oh God, screaming at that pitch. Oh, my head. I tried to pick Hugh up and take him away from the bath. I got punched, kicked, managed to get him into the bedroom, still screaming and lashing out.
Oh my God! When Sam was 2, that's when I first noticed there was something different about him. Because we would have horrendous meltdowns in shopping centres. And I mean horrendous. There was one in House of Fraser that, well, I think it was Blue Water, but it started in House of Fraser. And the reason he had a meltdown was because I wouldn't let him run around the car park. I wouldn't let him run around the car park. So he threw himself in the middle of the road in the car park and screamed and kicked and punched, and I had to pick him up, walked down to Blue Water, and I dumped him at the door of House of Fraser. And he followed me and then threw himself on the floor and screamed. He did that for half of Blue Water. And people were pointing and staring. It's like, this is my child. He's not naughty, he has autism, and the noises that you are making is too much for him. I'm not saying the world needs to change to accommodate my child, just saying it needs to just stare and judge a bit less. Or maybe shouldn't say stuff like that. This is my family, this is what we are, this is what we look like, this is us.
And I think most of the time, I think we are fairly chilled. I think we don't worry too much when we're out what people think, actually. I think on the whole we really don't. We've never had anyone say anything to us. I would dare them, if I'm honest.
But I would love.
But I find going out with your dad very difficult.
you're doing a good job.
Yeah, that's what we never get.
Appreciation of it. Yeah, it's always.
So you pick up on that. I don't seem to see what anyone else.
I do.
pick up on
But-
that one.
But it's to go. No, I can see your children challenging. You're doing great. You know, and then like if that's.
But then
the
how often
scenario
do you say
had-
that to other parents? You don't.
I do. I do. Yeah.
I give smiles. I give encouraging smiles.
Yeah, I do because I know I want.
Yeah. I've been,
Yeah,
I've
I shouldn't
been
have
judged,
cried,
and I've
Dave.
cried in shopping centres
Yeah.
because I've been judged. So
Yeah.
if I see somebody else
Yeah.
who you can see struggling, just
I
you're
always
doing a
make
great
sure
job.
I do.
Can
Yeah.
change their whole day.
Yeah.
Although that would be what would guarantee me crying. If you told me I was doing a great job, I would go, oh.
That's my biggest thing that I say to you a lot, and I say to my mum a lot, and I say is actually I beat myself up daily on the type of parent I am, and I always look at how much I'm failing my children, and I should be doing more, and I said I'm never, you know, I don't have anyone telling me any different. I said I need someone to sometimes say to me, do you know what, you're a good parent, your kids are so lucky to have you, and I don't get that. And so unless someone says that to me, I'm just going to assume that I'm crap.
I think the positive points on autism is that it's made probably my love for my children greater because I'm so proud of a lot more things than I think that they achieve every day than I would be if the children were normal. You know, and
The little things mean more.
yeah, I think that's it. I think that's really it. And I think having their special, unique quirks, their unique obsessions, their unique way of doing it makes them who they are, which then makes them just lovable, every one of them in their own way, and you know, just makes you immensely proud to be their parent. You know.
What's the one piece of advice that you'd give to parents of children with autism?
Fight for them. They deserve it, and it won't be given to them. It won't just naturally be given to them, and it should be. Any child with a special need, you know, they're the children that shouldn't have to fight. You will have to fight, and fight for your child because it will get you what they need, and they deserve to be fought for. And just accept them for who they are. Don't try and change them. You know, and anyone that wants you to change them, tell them where to go. Stick your fingers up.
And the hardest thing, time.
Thank you.
Give them your time. Interact with them. It's hard when you're tired. It's hard when you can see that, oh, I've got loads of work that I need to do tonight, but I'm going to do that bedtime routine. I'm going to read to them. And if I don't do that, I'm going to get a meltdown because I've broken the routine. But also, it's rewarding having that time. And be it them crawling all over me, or, you know, or bouncing on the trampoline, doing the story for bedtime, doing the bath time. Give them the time. However difficult it is, give them that time.
Actually, the last thing I would say is you're doing a great job, because most of the time with a child with autism you won't feel like it, but you are.
Pretty powerful stuff. Pretty powerful stuff. And there is nothing like people who suffer from things articulating it. Yes, I'm much more eloquent about Parkinson's than I am about anything else because I suffer from it. And I'm able sometimes to, because I'm a very positive thinking person, I try hard not to let it affect me, but some people who know me know how far they can take me. It's one of the things at the moment is it is a degenerative disease, and I slowly get worse. Nothing I can do about it. I can't stop it. I slowly get worse, from being a fairly sprightly guy who could always rush to catch a bus, I now shuffle. And I said to somebody the other day, I said, that's really what upsets me is I shuffle like an old man. And they looked at me and said, for God's sake, you are an old man. No sensitivity at all. Is call the shots the way that they are. But the trouble is, in some ways, that we tend to fight it quietly, get on with it, and not, as people with Asperger's, autism, several other diseases and conditions, we tend not to highlight it. And perhaps we should do a bit more of it. Perhaps we should have some sort of a forum. I sent out a little greeting card to friends. I'm a great fan of the Jackie Lawson cards, which are animated. And this one was a little cricket match. I got a response from some friends who live in Liverpool, who I've known for a long time, and we've shared adventures abroad together, and have gone on a good many different missions to different parts of the world, trying hard to help other societies. I suppose, really, I do see that as part of my duty. Sometimes it's not welcome. Sometimes I don't do it terribly well. But I do think of it as part of my duty. Anyway, I sent out this little card, and I got back the plaintiff from his Russian wife. That is, Arthur is very amused at your card. This animated cricket match. But he now has Parkinson's, so that he's debilitated, where he had to go into a nursing home, but he absolutely hated it, and is now at home, and we're making special preparations. Luckily, I am not at the state where I have to go into a nursing home. I look after myself. I live alone. I wouldn't mind half a dozen pretty girls in the apartment with me, but that's not the way that the cookie crumbles. I am luckily still self-sufficient. But I know more people who have Parkinson's, and my message to you is don't give up. As the aliens in Galaxy Quest, the movie, if you've ever seen it, say, never give up, never surrender. And that's my motto. Never give up, never surrender. In anything that I do, I just get my teeth into a thing and I stay with it. But somehow we always seem to find out by accident that colleagues and friends who've got Parkinson's, and there are more that you can shake a stick at. Why? There seems to be a sense of shame about Parkinson's. Some very famous people, Michael J. Fox, Neil Diamond, the Vegan, well, actually, some very famous people from the past is Billy Graham and Muhammad Ali, of course. And in many instances, they have all, a bit like being gay, as they've come out. They eventually admit that they've got it, and they hide it for a good many years. I don't know why. I've never hid it. I haven't trumpeted it, but I haven't hid it. I've always accepted that I've got it, and that's it. I don't ask for any favors from anybody. I get on and try to handle it as best I can. But then I'm not trying to suggest that I'm a hero. Far from it. There are times when I can get peed off with it and then lose my rag. Of course. But I've never been ashamed that I've had it. And I think that I got a message to people, not only with Parkinson's, but other neurological conditions. Don't hide it. Don't let the world know that you've got it. And here we are. Hello, Lena.
Hello.
How are you, darling?
Yeah, good morning.
Oh, some
Good
more
morning.
bickies. Lena looks after me. She does two things. She gives me breakfast and tries to find me a wife.
You not need wife. You have plenty ladies.
Well,
I won't say,
lucky.
but Princess, she doing a very good job. She every time with charity. Yeah?
She is, isn't she?
She's
Lena's
lovely.
talking about the front page of, I think it's the Express, is it? Yes, the Express, which shows a picture of Kate, the Princess of Wales, and her new focus on children. And it's very nice, isn't it? I think she's a worthy princess, and since she was sort of considered to be a commoner, she's fitted in extremely well with the royal family and does a terrific job.
She's lovely.
And you see, I've been raging on about duty. You know, all these people that are on strike, they don't have any sense of duty. It's only me, because they're making outrageous demands, which can't possibly fulfill.
What exactly would Lena like if Lena friend в England? If Lena friend в England, Lena she like money for working with charity with poor people money, because I am working before with charity. No, is no money go for people. I like money go for people for England. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean Russia have money, England have money. It's lovely.
Yes. Well, both you and your
We'll see you later. Yeah.
yes, you will. You and your husband both have a sense of duty, and that's what I like about you. And what happens is I go and have a drink once a week after the show with Lena and her husband John, who are great people, lovely people. And you're quite right. I've got a lot of women, including you, looking after me.
Exactly. You like.
That's the fun of doing this sort of television, where anything goes, and you meet some very, very interesting people. And we are Mirador Television, out of the White Hart Hotel, and it's in Lewis, and the whole theme is that we are open. We're not tucked away in a studio. We're actually in a bar in the hotel, famous hotel, with a terrific history. But nonetheless, if people walk in and want to talk, we talk. We say no to no one. And it brings up very interesting things from time to time and very interesting people. In the meantime, what we try to do is to reflect what's going on in our world, and a wide variety of opinions. We are not owned by any big organization. I am the mogul, if you like. I call the shots. And so I give free rein to all the people that contribute to this television station, this television enterprise, this broadcast. And I will only give them one rule: they must not libel. Well, we take obscenity as a libel, but they must not libel. After that, they can express their opinions as they wish, and we get a whole variety. And we're not afraid to let dissident views, as long as they are not threatening violence. We are quite happy for people to not take on the establishment's view of things. We take on all sorts of different causes. We, as you can see, try to support those people with a sense of duty who try hard to help those, and I say those, and I'm not even including myself in this, who are ill with a condition. It's not widely known that our former mayor, Stephen Catlin, is quite ill. We like to think that we give Stephen a voice whenever he wants it. We have all sorts of people who no longer can work, but who pop in or pop up on Mirador. So if you want, we are not a television meant for you to sit down at 8:30 in the morning and watch through until 11 o'clock. It's damn near 11 now. We are not in any way fixed. So what we encourage you to do is to pop in and out. Sometimes you'll find it all dull and boring, and other times you'll find, oh my goodness me, I didn't know that. One thing we do regularly is we let people know about the community in which they live. And we let other people know about the community in which we live, because we've got some fascinating stories to tell. Our motto is, we are local but not parochial. You don't hear about lost cats on Mirador, but what you do is you hear about things that have happened locally that are pertinent to the rest of the world. And you hear about things that are pertinent to the rest of the world that are also pertinent to us in this community. And so we see ourselves as linking communities around the world. We have some fascinating people who contribute. Now, let me just end today by saying that we are to help you not be bored silly. We are altering our format. We go on the air as usual at 8:30, and we run through until 9, and we just look at the newspapers. We run the odd feature, and we look at what's happening locally in the news. Oh. Then we break for half an hour, and we come back at 9:30 with some form of program. Never know what it is. It's different each day. And then we break again for another 15 minutes until 10:15, and we come back with another item, normally from our archives. We are planning to institute interviews almost on a daily basis at 10:30, and we have already we have Suzanne Mouchot from New York, Melissa Conte from New York, both of whom are fascinating people that we interview regularly. We are trying to slot in Jane Watkins from Hastings. We have Liza Page, who very much is into the alternative view. And we hope that we have one or two more that we are going to add on either around the country or around the world. Because everybody has something to say of value, something to say that's worth listening to. Whatever else, I try hard to instill in those people that appear here with a sense of duty. And it is a sense of duty here. They don't get fat fees the way they do if they appear on the BBC. They come here because they believe in community broadcasting. They believe in small-scale television. But mostly they believe that they've got a message to tell which will help and enrich our community and our society. So that's what we're all about. We're mightily ignored by local politics. But then I seriously question that people go into politics anymore for a sense of duty. There's always a little tag at the end with the pound sign on it. Personally, I would strip all that away and then see who turns up to try to better their community. And that goes for actually for instance, the banking community has absolutely no sense of duty to its community. It is rotten and it's corrupt and it is arrogant. But governments, as they're constituted at the moment, are scared silly of the financial community. So they get away with absolute murder. 28, 29, 30% for a credit card. And nobody says boo. Nobody says boo. You cut that in half and immediately you would help the cost of living. We've been pushed into a cashless society, so cards, whether they be debit cards or whether they be credit cards, are widely used. If it's a debit card and you go over, you get dinged about £1 a day for anything that you have in terms of an overdraft. If you have a credit card, you get charged 28 to 30% in the main, by most of them, for the privilege of using their money. It's iniquitous. But does anybody do anything about it? No. This doesn't stop me from shouting the odds and from suggesting that actually, when everybody gets a so-called activism for the things that are wrong in our society, they look in the wrong direction. It's 11 o'clock. I've got to go. Been great being with you this morning. I'll be with you again tomorrow morning. I look forward to having you with me. Until then, what shall we do with a drunken sailor? What we'll do is we will say toodle toodle pip. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for supporting Mirador Television. Oh, we are quirky. We are really quirky. We're nice quirky. Cheerio.